follows.
This is All India Radio. You will now hear comments from the press. The Times of India in its editorial titled A Step Forward writes, with the Rajya Sabha passing the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Bill 2019, India is set to get its first law protecting the rights of transgender community. The bill was passed by the Lok Sabha earlier in August, and its passage into law is certainly a big step forward. The legislation is ambiguous in that it ostensibly gives every transgender person the right to self-perceived identity, yet it also stipulates that a transgender individual must apply to the district magistrate for a certificate of identity indicating transgender status. In case the person undergoes surgery to change gender to male or female, then a revised certificate will have to be obtained later. There are things to be said for and against the latter. It could be argued that it opens up transgender persons to intrusive scrutiny and robs them of agency. On the other hand, allowing transgender people to simply self-identify, as many on the left argue, can open up a can of worms too. In that case, if those who are biologically male were to enter women's sports events or even women's loos simply through a self-declaration, there would be nothing in law to prevent them. There is a genuine problem, however, with the bill prescribing mild fines and punishments such as imprisonment ranging from 6 months to 2 years for offences such as physical and sexual abuse. This is out of sync with existing penal provisions for rape and sexual violence. That said, it's also true that not all problems can just be legislated away. At the heart of the issue here is a social prejudice and transphobia. The Statesman's editorial titled 21st Century Tragedy says the recent death of a 10-year-old schoolgirl at Sultan Bathery in Wayanad district after she was bitten by a snake in her classroom has exposed the much-touted Kerala model and laid bare the chronic underdevelopment of an area represented in Parliament by former Congress President Rahul Gandhi. The blame for Shehla Sherin's tragic and untimely death can be attributed to a number of circumstances, including the alleged neglect of her teachers who delayed taking her for treatment and the fact that the government hospital at Sultan Bathery was out of anti-snake venom. She had to be driven to Kozhikode 90 kilometers away and died on the way. In the thickly forested area of Wayanad, snakebite is a common occurrence and it is criminally negligent that hospitals in the area do not stock anti-snake venom. When such incidents occur in Kerala, which has consistently performed well on all human development index indicators including education, health, sanitation, maternal mortality and life expectancy, it is evident cracks are emerging in the system. What happened to Shehla indicates a breakdown of the system. Her leg slipped into a hole in the floor of her classroom where the snake bit her. In a state which claims to have achieved 100% literacy, crumbling school buildings and dilapidated classrooms are the norm in Wayanad district. It is the only district in Kerala to feature in the list of 115 backward districts of India under the Niti Aayog's Aspirational Districts program. While the rest of the state tops all development indices, Wayanad remains neglected, facing acute agrarian distress and ecological degradation. Floods and landslides in the district in August left it battered. It has the lowest per capita income, lowest literacy rate and lowest sex ratio in the state. The Tribune's editorial titled Limits on Tenure writes the Pakistan Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa is in an uncomfortable position. In an unexpected development, his country's Supreme Court is examining in unflattering detail the grounds cited by Prime Minister Imran Khan's government that seeks to extend the general's term for another 3 years. In doing so, the court has stepped in to stem the rot wherein every Pakistan Army chief in the past 2 decades had sought and secured an extension. A notable exception was General Rahil Sharif, who announced 10 months before his retirement that he would not be seeking an extension. Such was the importance of granting General Bajwa the extension that Federal Law Minister Farooq Naseem resigned as minister to enable him to argue before the Supreme Court in the case personally. The 60-year-old general is widely seen as the pillar of power behind the Prime Minister. He also has a dubious reputation of fomenting terrorist activities. A judicial review of his extension has thrown light on the slipshod manner in which the Imran Khan government had moved to ensure the continuation of its benefactor. It also reflects opposition to the misadventures of what is often called the militablishment, the usurping of political, administrative and judicial wings of the state by the military establishment is rightly seen as an impediment to the growth of Pakistan as a nation. In this instance, the assertion of judicial authority at the cost of challenging a